Join us as we journey forth into the unknown.
Let me tell you a little story now. Once upon a time on this street, you could walk down and people would say hi, they'd say hello, they'd greet ya, they'd wave at ya, you know. But that ain't happening anymore. People are cold, they're desolate, desecrated, and just empty. And it reminds me of the times when I was younger, you know. They don't call it Happy Street for nothing. People smiling at you, grinning at you, gooning at you, you name it. And this is why they'll tell called Happy Street. There we go. All right, Johnny? Yeah. Okay, Johnny. Happy Street used to be the happiest street in the world. But then something went cold, something went bad. And Happy Street, never the same. You know, I think it's Y2K, man. I don't know. Something changed. Happy Street was so happy. And so joyful and soulful. You know, I think I can pinpoint it back to a time when Happy Street used to be happy. And there was a time in the late 90s when things started getting less happy and people were getting less clappy. It was when that man rode into town, that strange stranger, and things just weren't as happy anymore. You know, he seemed to leak from the anus, if you know what I mean. And it just dampened everyone's spirits, you know. Everyone was so happy, and this man, everyone was weirded out by him. But he wasn't even the main problem, and he wasn't even the reason that Happy Town was falling apart. It was old Skinny Joe. Skinny Joe, let me tell ya. Skinny Joe rode into town. He was riding another man with a man. It was pretty strange. The man was on all fours and he was riding him like a horse. Anyway, I don't judge, so I thought, hey, Skinny Joe, he seems cool. I went to the pub with the man. I thought, Skinny Joe, he seems like a nice guy. But then I realized something was awfully wrong with him. No one was happy since Skinny Joe, because you see, the thing is, Skinny Joe himself, he used to brew coffee in his own underwear, you know. And the more I got to know him, I thought, this guy's weird, he's strange. He has seances in his hallway where he massacres small animals, you know. And I was like, this guy's a bit weird, he's dampening my vibe, you know. My chilled out jazzy vibe, he's dampening it. And then he, you know, one time I was hanging out with him in the pub and he said, hey, what if you put SpaghettiOs in your ass? And I was like, Skinny Joe, man, you're giving me weird vibes. And then, get this, Skinny Joe, this is what crossed it over for us when the happiness went, you know. Skinny Joe, he shit in a box. And that wasn't even the weird part, you know, he shit in a box. And then he said, hey, look at me, I'm a fancy man. I'm a fancy guy, you know. And then he started just squeaking and hawking and hollering and screaming. And he stripped off all his clothes and he said, I'm a little chicken man. And then he shat again and then he said, I'm a chicken man, look at me. Even Thomas with the leaky asshole was looking at him like, what are you doing, man? And then he got a cube of butter and he rubbed it all over himself and he was just screaming in the street covered in butter. And, weird stuff, And then he exploded into a pile of collard greens, He just exploded and turned into him. And it was the weirdest fucking thing we've ever seen, And ever since that day, the happiness went away. It was all because of him, Skinny Joe. But at least, even though he exploded, messy, at least those collard greens had butter on them, They were tasty, man. But I think things are gonna get better. Skinny Joe was the type of man to put a sandwich in his ass and act like no one's watching. He's the kind of guy to sneeze into a book and put it back on the shelf. He's the kind of guy that'll marry Lima and Toha for a joke, and then start talking about how he wants to let his hog out in public, throwing light bulbs at people, saying he's the president of Skinny Town and fucking shitting in a box, But I'll always remember Skinny Joe and his weirdness, he was a weird guy. But hey, I suppose the moral of the story is there's a little bit of Skinny Joe in all of us, But not as fucking weird as him, Anyway, yeah, this is only a small part of my audiobook that's gonna be coming out soon. The Tales of Skinny Joe. This Joe tells all. My name's Joe as well, by the way. I didn't mention that. It's a very weird coincidence, I'm cooler than him, though. I'm a cooler Joe, I didn't explode into collard greens and shit in a box. I just shit in a glass like a normal person, Who does that, man? Fucking weirdo. Yeah. Ugh. 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 Ugh.